You want to see a villain, you'll see a villain very fast. It's good to sometimes dig deep. Having that darker, repressed self sometimes is good for self-preservation. That's where you got to dig deep and do what needs to be done sometimes.
Attack Life, Not Others with Tim Hoover and Steve Mittman.
HHVV. Which are you, Tim?
HHVV.
Are you an H or are you a V?
Am I an H or am I a V?
Yeah. There's two H's, there's two V's. Here's where I'm going.
Well, go ahead, tell me, because I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah. How do you like it? A taste of your own medicine here. No, because we love when you spring things on us.
Yeah, I know, but
knows what I'm talking about.
They have a sense of it, like understanding, but two H's and two V's make absolutely no sense at all.
All right. So Carl Jung, one of the foremost, psychiatrists, psychologists, psychotherapists, Jung, Freud, all that. Carl Jung. It's the four archetypes, the four basic archetypes that permeate through storytelling, biblical times, modern times, doesn't matter. You've got your hero, you've got your healer, you've got your victim, and your villain. HHVV.
Okay.
So these four represent key human experiences and then also coping mechanisms. So you're an archetype. This dictates kind of your personality, but your personality is fluid. It's not like just because you're a healer in this arena doesn't mean you're always a healer. Sometimes you're the victim, sometimes you're the villain, and sometimes you're the hero. So the hero always finds a way to overcome challenges. That's the hero.
Okay.
The healer always finds a way to restore and nurture, whether it's himself, herself, or help others restore and nurture themselves. They're the healers.
So you have the hero and the healer.
Correct. Now, they're the good ones, if you want to call it that. But like everything in life, there's a yin and yang.
Right.
The two V's. First one is the victim. The victim always experiencing suffering or helplessness. And I get it. Listen, life is full of suffering. But when you're a victim and you adopt that self-identity, you always find yourself being a victim.
Well, laws of attraction.
Life happens for those people. Life is always happening to them instead of for them.
Right.
Always happening to them. And, again, time and place. We're all going to be a victim at a certain point. I get it. And then there's the villain. The villain always reflects the darker, often repressed aspects of that self. And that can be a good thing. We're talking about, my gosh, self-protection. Talking about combatives, talking about, what the essence of a peaceful warrior martial arts is. You're peaceful until you're not. For instance, you try to hurt me, harm my children, my wife, my friends, my family, take away something precious to me. You want to see a villain, you'll see a villain very fast. It's good to sometimes dig deep. Having that darker, repressed self sometimes is good for self-preservation. That's where you got to dig deep and do what needs to be done sometimes. So it's not necessarily always a bad thing. It's just that if you're that villain to other people on a regular basis, that's not good per se.
No.
So there's a time, there's a place to incorporate all of these archetypes. And again, like I said, coping mechanisms with things that we will experience through life. This is how we handle it. Are you going to handle it like a hero, or are you going to be the victim?
Or are you going to be a healer?
Yeah, right. I know in the dojo what you are.
Well, I know that I can tell you right now, the hero in my mind is finding purpose. So if you find purpose, you're a hero within yourself, because it's going to self-sustain you throughout life. You're not going to be talking about old stories. Nobody wants to hear old stories. Actually, nobody wants to hear you talk anyway. So, if you are ingrained in your purpose, you're so busy learning and thriving in that sense of purpose, you're the hero.
Well, it's
yourself.
anything from doing that 51st push-up. Instead of stopping at 50, you're doing 51.
At my age, it's deeper, because what you're saying is, for me, my position of being a hero is finding purpose. And so if somebody says to me, "You still doing that thing? Martial arts? You kidding me?" It's my purpose. Okay, it's what I do. It's what I love to do. All right, that's my hero within me coming out. The healer is doing everything it can to give myself enough sustained life, power, strength, whatever, so that I can feed my purpose.
Right.
So we talked earlier coming over here about addiction. finding good addictions, and then a lot of us will find bad addictions. But time has to be replaced and replaced with something. If there's absence, if there's space, if there's a void, you can either replace it with a sense of purpose and also heal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the victim or the villain, the victim is self-pity, which in my prayers every day I ask,
Right.
I don't want it. Don't let me do that. Don't,
Right.
Because self-pity is like falling into a volcano. You're just burning up, and you're just going to look for people to support that self-pity, and I don't want it.
Right.
All right. What I want to do is rise above it. The pluses are then be a healer and find a hero. As far as the villain, the villain creates the opposite in my end, as far as my purpose. I see the damage that the villain can do.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I'll say and address in the class, listen, guys, put yourself in the middle of one of the major cities. Visualize how ugly and nasty it can be. And it can be right in your back door, right at your house. You've got to role play within the mind. And to do that, you got to place your brain in the same place that the villain will be. And that's hard to do.
Right.
That's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the idea is to see that villain, then that makes your purpose even greater, because you can teach with more of a sense of purpose, because understanding what can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's my take on it.
Spot on. Listen, if you're driving in the car right now, you're walking, whatever you're doing, you're listening to this podcast, think about, I don't know, your day today or how you encountered a certain situation in the last week or so, and you'll realize that it fell into one of these categories. It did. Like every moment of every hour of every day,
It's pretty good.
Any experience will fall into one of these. This is it. I mean, according to Jung, and it's true, though. You're either going to be the hero who takes action, you seek to overcome adversity, and you're driven by purpose and responsibility.
Yeah, sure, you are. And that should continue. I mean, as long as you can. There's a lot of ways. I mean, again, I'm at a different part in my life, a different time in my life than you are. But the idea is that decades change perspective.
Right.
And then you got to be able to flow into the next part of your life.
Well, what I just said, yeah. So you might be a hero for a day, a week, a month, a year, or for a whole decade. That could be you. That could be your archetype. Okay, and that's okay. And then if it evolves or shifts, maybe you'll be a healer at a certain point or a certain situation. That's a person who cares for others. You provide restoration for yourself and for others, and your drive. You're driven by empathy and compassion for others.
Sure you are, but also the awareness of where the victim or the villain can be within your own self should scare the hell out of you. Yeah. And should make you prepare and to live a more purposeful life and become a healer and a mentor. In other words, the opposite is the yin and the yang. So if you look at who you are and where you're going, wake up and try to crawl out of that pit to the point where you can get out. But the only way you can get out is to recognize as to where you are, and that might not be in a good place.
Sure. Well, you mentioned yin yang. So again, the opposite of a hero who takes responsibility or a healer who's driven by empathy and love and compassion for others is the victim who feels powerless or always wronged no matter what, often caught in this cycle of suffering or dependency on everyone else. You're always the victim.
I'm watching this show right now, which I'm kind of hooked on, and it's called Friends and Neighbors. It's on Apple, whatever, and it's a cool story. But bottom line is, he used to live in a very beautiful home, and he used to have a lot of neighbors. They also drove the most expensive car, lived in a beautiful home. They had security teams, and they had security alarms. But it got to the point where they forgot that they could be a victim.
Right.
So they forgot to turn the alarm on anymore.
Yeah.
They didn't turn the alarm on anymore. And this guy who lost his job, whatever, was well aware of that because he used to be one of them. Mm-hmm. He had the alarm. He had the big home. He had the police department that kept monitoring back and forth. And so he got to the point where he started thinking, I don't even need to do that. I'm going to walk out. I don't even need to lock my doors. I don't even need to set my alarm. He forgot that there is a villain out there. And he forgot that he could be the victim. So all of a sudden, these particular houses were open for theft and destruction. And I think this is what happens. We get complacent. So if we are a hero, or if we find our purpose, or we're the healer, all of a sudden we forget that we can be a victim or also become a villain overnight if we forget who we are and what our core values are.
Sure, yeah.
And we can step into that, as Bernie says, we can step into that particular quicksand and get sucked down really quick.
Yeah.
It's the company, it's the people, It's the place, the time, the energy, and who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And keep that in mind. That's very good, Steve. I'm very proud of you, my student.
Well, no, I just think the takeaway for me, at least for this, is if you realize, if you look back, you were one of these four, and I'm not talking in totality of your personality, because again, we're all four of these archetypes make our personalities. We have all four of these in us at any given point.
We do.
Be aware of it. If you don't like who you are.
Thank you for listening to Attack Life Not Others. For more on our way of life through the martial arts, go to attacklifenotothers.com.
This has been a Mittman Media creation. MittmanMedia.com.